we go across the entire NFL. We preview every single team. We go over the 2024 season, and then we go into the 2025 off season, and then we give our 2025 season predictions. This next team is the San Francisco 49ers, which in 2024, they finished 6-11 and finished last in the NFC West and missed the playoffs. Before the season, as much as the haters love to sit there and highlight the 3 teams that I got wrong this year, like, oh, dude, you missed the Bucks. You picked the Bucks to miss the playoffs. This team was my year from hell team. It sniffed it. It just wasn't good. This team had bad vibes all around it with contract disputes the entire offseason, injuries, the whole nine. And I picked them to miss the playoffs. I don't think you did, if I remember correctly, but this team had disaster written all over it for me.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I think I picked them to make the playoffs, but I don't think I was as high on them as a lot of people were. There's just too much talent, but obviously if you have all these injuries stack up that they did throughout the season, then it makes things really difficult, obviously.
Definitely. Total DVOA, they finished 10th, actually. Offensive DVOA, they
You froze.
2024 DVOA, the total DVOA, they finished 10th. In offensive DVOA, they finished 7th. And defensive DVOA, they finished 17th. And special teams, they finished 30th. Really rough special teams units. They kind of threw away a few games last year because of Jake Moody. And then even the year before that, he threw away the Super Bowl for them. Me personally, if a kicker misses a big kick like that in the Super Bowl, I don't care. He's gone, because that you can't bounce back from that, in my opinion. So that's mine. Before I ask you to comment on this shows how important Kyle Shanahan is. As much as people love to hate on him, he gives such a safe floor with this offense and this passing game. This passing game last season was held together by sticks and glue and Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. Those guys give this team such a safe floor from an offensive production standpoint that you have to feel good about their offense. But unfortunately, as a full team, I think it's fair to question that. But even last year and going into this year, their offense is in a really good place from a safe floor perspective. I mean, you're looking at me saying that you could guarantee a top 10 passing offense with Brock Purdy. That's what makes Brock Purdy so special. That's what makes Kyle Shanahan so special. That's why everybody who doubts them and hates them, the whole nine, there are numbers and stats and proof stacked up that's just something that shouldn't be critiqued.
Yeah, the critique for him is winning the big one, but
yeah,
there's a lot of coaches that haven't done that. So that aside, Debo goes down, McCaffrey goes down. You're left with Jawan Jennings and George Kittle as your offensive weapons, and
Debo Samuel had pneumonia.
Yeah, he had what? Didn't he have like blood in his lungs or water in his lungs at one point?
Pneumonia.
Is that exactly what pneumonia is?
That's what pneumonia is. Yes.
Why wouldn't they just say pneumonia on the ESPN app? No, on the ESPN app, I got the notification and it said breaking. Debo has water in lungs. That's all it said.
Well, continue. Sorry.
No. But yeah, they lost a lot of guys. The Ayuk situation was unfortunate. Debo got sick. So pretty much just working the offense through George Kittle and Jawan Jennings for majority of the season deserves a tip of the cap to Shanahan and Brock Purdy. But like you said, there was just not a whole lot that could be done elsewhere with the amount of injuries that started to pile up with these guys on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But they did about as good as they could have with what they had.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair to say. I mean, it's rough to have all of those injuries. Yeah, I mean, even on the other side of things, like a Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, like all of these guys who just missed so much time. It's definitely It's just definitely concerning. And unfortunately, it's still running into this season. Like every single day, if you have your Twitter notifications turned on for the big guys across who like cover the league, there is something popping up with this San Francisco 49ers team on with and when it comes to injuries almost every single day. And even Kyle Shanahan has acknowledged it too, where I saw a press conference clip where they mentioned the injuries and he was just like, yeah, I mean, it sucks. I mean, if you think it's like, it's hard to hear, like it's hard to deal with too. Like I'm trying my best to try to figure all of this out because they're getting outside pressure of like, oh, go trade for this guy, go sign this guy, go do this. And it's like, well, we need to take care of Juwan Jennings. We need to do this. We need to do that. We have a Brandon Ayuk. Like this guy's hurt. Even right now, like Brandon Ayuk's out. Demarcus Robinson is suspended. Jordan Watkins, there's questionable. Russell Gage is questionable. Jake Counting is questionable. Juwan Jennings is questionable. Like all of these guys across the board, this wide receiving room is really going to be bones when the season starts. And it's definitely a little bit concerning.
Yeah, but if they can find a way to just stay
Weather
afloat,
the storm.
yeah, stay afloat for the beginning of the year and give it some time for them to get their guys back, then I think they're going to be in an okay spot. Obviously, I would be more concerned if they didn't have Brock Purdy. I think it's obviously significantly harder to put things together when your quarterback is injured, and we've seen that. But as long as they have him and a healthy offensive line,
Sky Moore,
Christian McCaffrey should be there to start the season. Like,
yeah,
Brian Robinson Jr. too. Like, maybe
I'm not a big
maybe that's what
B-Rob guy.
maybe that's what they needed was Brian
That
Robinson.
was the missing piece to unlock this offense. Now, I think that is like there's a hilarious there's clips of the San Francisco 49ers beat reporter who is like a complete asshole, like going around on social media right now. And it is hilarious. He had a full monologue about like, he was like, well, he was like, Brock Purdy dropped back for a pass and got pressured, and Ricky Pearsall's flagging for the end zone and starts freaking out on Brock Purdy. He's like, I'm so happy Ricky Pearsall has finally arrived as a wide receiver in this league to deject Brock Purdy at practice. And then he was like, and Isaac Guerendo looked really good today. He fumbled 3 separate times. So the first thing that I want to do when the season starts is make sure to get Isaac Guerendo more involved on this offense. Like, if you've never seen this guy, take the time to go look at this. Bro, there's a clip of him and Javon Greenlaw on like a Zoom, like me and you are, like talking shit to each other, like hard.
Can you send me this guy on Twitter? I need to find him.
Yeah, he is an all-time. If 49ers fans find this video, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. So I am just based off of what I'm hearing about, like, it's the same side of things where like we make fun of like people that say like they're having a really good camp. On the other side of things, of people saying they had a really bad camp, I'm not worried about this 49ers infrastructure. Let's say, like, I think that they're a really great team. If you go across the NFL, like the people who've played in the Super Bowls are like Matt Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, and like Kyle Shanahan and Jalen Hurts, pretty much. Like, that's it. Yeah. So you have to feel like you're in a really good spot because he's a guy that can get you over the hump. I'm just worried about this team's injury luck. It's just so bad. And that sucks when you're talking about this. Even I think of somebody like a Malik Mustafa who tore their ACL late into the season last year, and he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. It just stacks up, and I'm just a little worried about that. And as that was a 2024 storyline, the injuries, I think going into this 2025 season, I think we're faced with the kind of the same reality of there is going to be a lot of key injuries on this team on the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football. But to continue, if you don't have anything else to say, we can get in the 2025 offseason, but it sounds like you were about to say something else.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is like usually a team's injury luck will get better from season to season after you go through a year like they did this past season. And if 2025 is anything kind of like how the end of last season went into this off season leading into 2025, like there is room for concern for that. Ultimately, I think they'll be okay, but just the fact that it's like already kind of starting off like makes me a little bit hesitant. But I'm gonna try and not worry about that too much, like as we go through and share our predictions for this team. But definitely something to at least like keep an eye on and monitor for the time being.
Yeah, let's get in the 2025 offseason. Some losses that they had on this team was Javon Hargraves, Dre Greenlaw, Hufunga. They lose Leonard Floyd. Any other people that I'm missing here? I'm sure I am. They probably had some. Oh, what's the corner's name that they lost?
Charvarius Ward, Aaron
Yeah,
Banks, Debo, um,
Debo, of course.
Jordan Mason, Josh Dobbs, Isaac Yiadom, Elijah Mitchell, um, Charlie Heck, Brandon Allen, and Eric Saubert.
Yeah, I
So
think
they lost a lot of they lost three running backs.
the one that really shocked me is like when Jordan Mason just got traded.
Yeah,
I felt like they felt really good about Isaac Garendo. And then Isaac Garendo started to have like some troubles. And then they went and they traded for B Rob as soon as he was available. So I feel like they probably wish that they could have that one back. He was a pretty good player for them last year. So I don't know why they were looking to move off of him. Like I said, maybe they thought Garendo was a better player. I mean, we're talking about fucking second string running backs. So let's move on. Some acquisitions that they made on this roster, we kind of alluded to it already. Tanner Mordecai, who they signed and released literally in the same day. Trey Brown, he already went to the IR. It's a cornerback. They also added Richie Grant, Luke Gifford, John Weeks, and then like they traded for Brian Robinson Jr. Some other guys here that they added too. They added like a Demarcus Robinson, a Russell Gage. I think I don't know if he was there last year or not.
Mac Jones,
Mac Jones. Am I missing anybody on the
Luke
defensive side of
Farrell.
the football? Luke
No,
Farrell.
Luke Farrell tight end, but no, Jason Pinnock, I think, and Ciaron Neal are the only two that I don't know if you mentioned.
No, I did not mention them. So, yeah, it sucks. I mean, it's just like they literally will get guys and they'll just get hurt automatically. Like the Equinamius St. Brown one was like the one that like shocked me the
Yeah,
most because they signed him and Andy Isabella, and I was like, oh, Andy Isabella's back. And
so
God,
back,
Shanahan
so back.
in
No,
offense. And then like they release him, and then the next day it's like Equinamius St. Brown is moved to the IR with a season-ending injury. I was like, man, they're unlucky.
I will say this though, I think they did the right thing moving on from like a handful of these guys. I think that the Hafungwa and the Dre Greenlaw move and Leonard Floyd, like those
I
are
agree.
guys are that you obviously you don't want to see them go, but at the same time, it's like, all right, we get it. Like we have to begin to not necessarily rebuild because I don't think of them as like a team that's trying to bottom out by any means, but like start to trim some of the fat and like move on from some of the guys that might not have had the best injury luck or haven't didn't play up to expectations and like or we're past a point where you're like, yeah, we feel really great about this guy playing full seasons for us. Like the Debo Samuel situation too. Like,
Yeah,
do
he
I
was
think Debo
cooked.
has like a little bit left in the tank? Yeah, sure, but is he worth bringing around for another season in San Francisco? I don't really think so. So I think they did a good job of kind of moving on from some of these guys while also still being in a spot where they're one of the better teams in the NFC.
Yeah, I would have some slight pushback on that statement of being one of the best
The
teams
better
in the
team.
NFC. And at this point of their like run, I think you're really downplaying this injury luck. I think going into the season where majority of your guys already are fighting and battling like injuries that could
Fair.
keep them out like the first half of the season. I just like don't think that that's like a spot that anybody wants to be in, obviously. So I would push back from that standpoint. If they were fully healthy, we might be having a completely different conversation. But this injury concern is just it's real. It's not something to kind of like fake at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think it's worth noting though, as long as you have a healthy Brock Purdy, Shanahan's still there, you have CMC, you have Kittle. I think Juwan Jennings played really well for them without
Oh
Brandon
yeah.
Ayuk there. Um, I think the offense looks a lot better with obviously you throw CMC in there. That's not any surprise, but I think they can survive enough. Plus, they have like the easiest schedule in the NFL this season, so I think that plays in their favor to kind of counteract the injury luck that they've had. So that's and when I say one of the better teams, I'm putting them in a group of probably like 6 teams, 7 teams that I think could win the Super Bowl in the NFC, and that might be being generous.
As constructed right now, this team is not a Super Bowl team at all.
If they're healthy, but they're not currently healthy at this moment.
Their offense is a Super Bowl offense. Their defense is not a Super Bowl defense. I
There's
mean,
definitely questions. There's
I think
definitely
bringing
questions over there.
I think bringing in Salah obviously like helps a little bit, but I even with Salah's work, like I don't think that this is a top 10 defense in the NFL at all. And if you're not we when we're going over these teams, the thing like I hate to
Yeah,
be a broken record, but the thing that makes some of these teams and the teams that are going to make deep runs in the playoffs is like who's has the best defenses right now.
yeah,
And I know that I said at the top of this is like who has like a safe, they have a very safe floor when it comes to like an offensive perspective. But also at the same time, like I'm sitting here saying that, and it's like, okay, well, like their number one wide receiver is like still hurt. Like Brandon
yeah.
Ayuk, the guy who they paid all this money to, is still hurt. And the rest of their wide receiving room is, I don't know what Ricky Pearsall is. Juwan Jennings is on pace to play, but he was fighting a calf injury. So just something, calf injuries at this point are something that is
Concerning.
just like the scariest thing that you could possibly have because too many people have been tearing their Achilles. So, um, just something to keep in mind. I think as what you're saying though, personally, like just to push back on that is like that's an overstatement. I don't care if they have the easiest schedule in the NFL. This team is like they're at best. I think even if they were fully healthy right now, I think that there's probably still a year away of some getting some talent and some other people in the building to be able to do this. We're sitting here banking on a Christian McCaffrey who Christian
Yeah,
McCaffrey has done nothing but proven why we shouldn't trust him. So
yeah.
I think that
Fair.
that's also another reason to kind of just proceed with caution is like, okay, like we're sitting here hoping that their best player on offense could be healthy. But if we look through his games played over his entire career, he has really never been able to play a full NFL season other than legitimately one time. So I think that it's a little concerning going into it, especially what he was fighting last year. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of an overstatement to consider them a true contender at this point.
I mean, I look at it as like I mentioned, they have Purdy and they have Kittle, they have Shanahan. Like if they can stay moderately healthy, then I think it's fair. But I agree with some of the pushback that you provided. I think there are certainly reasons to be concerned about this team. I'm also just trying to look in the grand scheme of the NFC and like I think there's some teams that are going to take a step back, other teams that are going to take steps forward. And I mean, there's no way. Well, there is a way, but I think this is a team that
Yeah,
takes a
there's
step forward.
definitely a way.
There's definitely a way. I do think this is a team that is better than they will be than they were last year.
Yeah, I completely disagree with you, honestly. I'm just looking at this division that they're in currently. Like the Rams are going to be a good football team, God willing, if Stafford can stay healthy. I think the Seahawks will be a team that could be able to win like 7 games. And I think the Arizona Cardinals, we went over this in the Arizona Cardinals episode. They're extremely slept on, honestly. And you look at a defense like the Arizona Cardinals compared to the defenses across the rest of this division, it's the best defense in the division. So
It is.
although I think Purdy is probably arguably one of the best quarterbacks in this division, I'm just really worried about the everything that's going on else around him. It's not that I don't like the Seahawks. It's not that I don't like the 49ers. It's
Fair.
not that I don't like John Lynch. It's not that I don't like Kyle Shanahan or Brock Purdy. It's just everything else and the free fall of injuries that they seem like to never be able to escape the entire Kyle Shanahan tenure in with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, hey, I don't have any like actual pushback for you on that. I think that's totally fair to not feel great about them heading into this season.
And then let's go into the 2025 draft. We skipped over that. They at pick 11, they took Michael Williams out of Georgia, a young guy who is going to be really good for them. They were picking at the top of the draft. I like that they went this way. They obviously could have went tackle. I think that the Kelvin Banks Jr. was a type of pick that they were looking to potentially make, but the Saints went ahead and stole that one from them. That would have been one that I thought would have been a perfect fit. Somebody to definitely take over the reins whenever Trent Williams is done. But Michael Williams is going to be a good player. Round 2, they took Alfred Collins from Texas. And then day 2 and 3, they took Nick Martin, a linebacker, Upton Stout, corner, and plus some depth at some like wide receiver quarterback. I'm not going to get too much into that, obviously. What do you think of like the Michael Williams pick and whatever? Or do you have anything that you want to say?
No, I think he'll end up probably being pretty good for them too. At this point, like you have to basically do the worst thing possible for me to not think that you're going to be a reasonably decent NFL player if you're coming out of like Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, like
One of the premier places.
yeah, you have to just be an absolute scumbag off the field or for me to not think that you'll be a reasonably good player in the NFL. So like I think he'll end up being solid for them. He'll probably play 15 years at defensive end for them and be the next. He'll probably end up just being Joey Bosa, but younger for them. So that'll be sick. That'll be really sick to deal with.
Let's go into some Vegas win totals and futures for the 2025 season. Their win total sits at 10.5. I think that's really high. The NFC West odds sit at plus 155. As we were talking about the Rams, we realized they overtook as the favorites to win the division. To win the Super Bowl, they're sitting at plus 2,000. Unfortunately, from like an MVP standpoint, maybe a defensive player of the year, if they can round into form, we talked about that. I don't think that they're going to have one of the top 3 defenses in the entire NFL to be able to kind of solidify them having one of those defensive player of the year finalist candidates like a Nick Bosa. So that's something that I just probably wouldn't bet. But again, it's crazy how the more and more they get injured, the more and more they move up as like favorites in this division. And to have a win total sitting at 10.5 is the indicative of exactly what you were talking about of them being able to have the easiest schedule in the NFL. I feel like whenever somebody's talking about the 49ers, they're ignoring everything that's going on with the 49ers and just talking about the fact that they have the easiest schedule in the NFL. So yeah.
The only thing I push back on a little bit is what if this defense, like, is there a world where this defense is actually middle of the road and it's because Nick Bosa is just going absolutely bonkers?
Yeah, I think that they will be a middle of the road defense no matter what.
Yeah, like, could he just be having a crazy season with sacks and win Defensive Player of the Year? Like, I don't think they give it to a team with a bottom 5 defense, but like, do you think there's a scenario where, say, they are middle of the road and he's just going crazy, like, and they do win 9 or 10 games? Like, could he be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate at plus 1,100?
I think that as of right now, like I just don't. I haven't seen like I haven't seen enough out of him lately. Like it's like a what have you
Okay.
done for me lately type
Yeah.
situation where it's like his best season was the 2021 and 2022 stretch where in 2021 he had 15 and a half sacks. In 2022 he had 18 and a half sacks. Last year he had 10 and a half sacks. That's a big downgrade. And then
Yeah.
in 2024 he finished with 9 sacks again. He only played 14 games, but I need to see more. And I just clicked on Nick Bosa. What's next to his name? A questionable tag here. Nick Bosa neck was limited during Tuesday's practice. Like it's
Pause.
just always big pause. It's always something, and I just want to see more out of him, I guess, before I would place that bet, I guess.
No, that's fine. I was only bringing it up from like a value perspective because he is one of the best defensive players in the NFL when he's healthy,
Absolutely.
and and he's fifth on the list. He's fifth highest odds. So like, I guess that kind of is fair. But I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on that.
It's so hard for me because I like the 49ers. I'm a big Kyle Shanahan fan. I'm a big Brock Purdy fan. And to sit here and have to like heavily critique them like this like is annoying, honestly, because I want to sit here and pick them to be like a Super Bowl team because I like the 49ers. I just don't think that's the case right now, like at all. So
Right.
same thing with the Nick Bosa thing. I think he's a really good player, but we just need to see him string together like a full season of health and productivity at this point.
I think that's very fair.
Um, went over the schedule a few times. I'm just going to go into my 2025 predictions. I think this is I think this is an 8-win team. I think that they missed the playoffs again this year. Um, I I am at worst. I think that they could be a 5-win team just based off health. If things continue to get worse, but I'm going to go a little bit higher on them because I still like them. I still like their core pieces, but there is a lot of dependency on guys who haven't been dependable over the last few seasons and their entire careers. And that right now worries me. So could be a potential another reset year at this point for the 49ers. I don't, even if they do make the playoffs this year, like sneak in with like 9 wins, I don't see them winning a playoff game. Um, I like even like the another good example is like even if you do get Brandon Ayuk back like midway through the season, like what's he going to look like? Like
Yeah,
what are a
that'll
lot
take
of these
time.
guys going to look like? It's going to take time to get these guys back to being 100%. This might be a candidate of a breakout team for me for next season, but as of right now, this team isn't going to be the one that goes from like worst to first type situation like people kind of talk about. I like them more than the Seahawks. Obviously, I like a banged up Niners team more than the Seahawks,
Yeah,
but I
so do
don't
I.
like them more than like the Rams or the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going based off of just strength of schedule too here because I am also still weary of the injury issues like we've been talking about. I have them going 9-8, and maybe I seemed like I liked them more than that when we were talking about them, but I think the injuries are certainly a concern. Um, but I still think at the end of the day, you have Brock Purdy, you have Kyle Shanahan, and you have the easiest schedule in the NFL. I think that probably can warrant you 9 wins, unless something just goes absolutely nuts and their whole team gets hurt, and then they have to call the Cal Berkeley team to come play for them. Who's going to
apparently
get
it's
disbanded?
it's apparently it's definitely potential that they could continue to get hurt. I hope not. But yeah, sorry for the negative video for the 49ers. I hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I am too, but at the same time, like they'll be back at some point. Like you'll be back. Like this isn't even if they have another down year, this isn't a team that I'm banking on just like throwing in the towel anytime soon.
No, not at all. Maybe they need to. Maybe they need to reset.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like full reset?
I mean, at this point, like there there's just going to be some tough conversations to be had. Like, I mean, Trent they're one of their best players on their team is like 40. He's like 40. He's 38 years old.
Yeah.
I think that it's probably fair to say that he's probably coming to the end of his career. Like, I don't think that
no doubt.
I think that like even paying like the amount of money that they paid for like a Brandon Ayuk at the time that they did, I didn't like really fully agree with that at that time. I didn't think that he has done enough to like prove that he like deserved that sort of money. And it felt like they kind of got pressured into that. And then he goes and tears his ACL, and now he's going to pretty much miss like 2 like impactful seasons. It's just, like I said, it could potentially be time for them to do like a little bit of a reset. You obviously just paid Brock Purdy a ton of money. Is it fine to go and continue to reset and get younger players in there and rebuild through the draft, etc.? I think that might be a direction that they could potentially take like after the season's end.
Okay. Well, I think that'll be interesting to follow throughout this season. If they do end up going through some more unfortunate injuries, we will see how that ends up playing out. But at the end of the day, we don't root for injuries here, and we'll see what happens with the Niners.
Definitely. All right, brother. Peace.
Go Birds.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take